Hello, all adventurers and wastelanders and all other types of RPG players slash gamers slash stuff. I'm Caedo Genesis, and I'm joined by my co-host Bad Company Sarge.
Hello there. And
this is episode 149 of the PIPCAST 3000, bi-weekly podcast every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific, where we talk about open world RPG, Bethesda adjacent kind of things. And this episode, we actually have a tier list where we are pitting the Fallout franchise and the Elder Scrolls franchise against each other to rank them, and some of which we haven't even played, and they have their own category for that too. It's a handful, and some of which I don't think anybody's ever heard of. I spoiled a little bit for myself, but I clicked away because Sarge was so good to make the list, and I'm going in partially blind. So I appreciate it, Sarge. Thank you.
That's okay.
For doing that again. You've become the tier list master of this. But yeah, before we get into that, we have comments of the cast and the housekeeping stuff, and we're also going to be talking about the Xbox showcase that happened over the last week that had 4 games shown off, so we'll have a little bit to talk about those, and then we'll get into the tier list, and then I'll do my wild footage split thing where you're watching the B-roll and then bam, it's real time and my voice through another source.
Ooh.
It's gonna be crazy. Not really. I'm making it sound crazier than it is. So thank you to Wasteland Legends, Sven and Rose, and the ones supporting the channel. Appreciate you. You're amazing. And why don't we get into the comments of the cast, or comment of the cast, because Kellen Stone is kicking butt over in Spotify and we can't play favorites too much. So Sarge, would you take the YouTube comment, please?
Yeah, Agent Samson 5623 says, "Fantastic podcast again, fellas. So glad to hear Sarge got to finally check out Elden Ring." And yeah, I'll be talking about Elden Ring at the end of the podcast as well, at the very end, because I have been playing more of it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have a lot to say about it. Yeah, that was a quick answer to that comment. That's awesome. Right on to the news. The Xbox showcase happened. They showed off 4 games. Claire Obscure, Expedition 33.
Yeah.
Was one of the games that was shown off. A very turn-based RPG, kind of modern take, a little bit of kind of an Atlas look mechanically that I've heard from some people, like Persona and stuff like that.
Yep. The user interface is like 100% personified.
Super like aesthetically aggressive and stylish to look at. But this is a really cool modern take on turn-based RPGs that I want to try for sure. The premise is Expedition 33 is going out to stop someone called the Paintress, who is lowering the age cap of everyone every year. And that's why the expedition is called 33, because the people going on the expedition are 33 years old. And if they don't take out the Paintress, they're going to die, and then Expedition 32 will take their place next year. So kind of cool premise, and the environments are quite fantastical looking, and as well as the like, I don't know, the mascot characters or the companion characters, not the humans. The humans have their own things going on, but the mascot characters look kind of entertaining as well. I don't know, pretty interested in that. And they touted that they have a world map to explore too, that a lot of modern RPGs don't anymore, which is cool.
No, we do see a bit of footage in this trailer which felt to me even like it was this weird world map, overworld exploration style of thing. Because you know how scale on the world maps is never right? Like, I always remember the Final Fantasy games where your character's like taller than a building.
And they have a really big head sometimes.
Yep. Yeah.
Final Fantasy 9 and 7.
Yep. Yeah, felt like there was a fair bit of that going on. But yeah, that's coming in April. So something to keep half an eye on at least.
Speaking of another stylish thing, South of Midnight is a game about Southern mythology, like Deep South, U.S. Southern style, I guess, with different like cryptids and stuff like that, with a kind of a stop motion aesthetic to some of the cutscenes and stuff. It's got a very unique look to it, and yet another one that is very, very pleasing to look at. And I hope the gameplay is just as fun, because it looks like another kind of action hack and slash kind of thing.
What we've got here is a story trailer, but there is a little bit of gameplay thrown in, and I'm very pleased to see that the gameplay looks a lot more smooth, because I would not like controlling it stop motion style in the gameplay so much.
Oh no. It's very much like it seems like they took inspiration from the Last Wish.
I have no idea what you're on about, I'm afraid.
Oh my god. Puss in Boots, the Puss in Boots movie that was really, really good.
Oh, I've not seen it yet.
Dude, it's awesome.
It's on my watch list. I'll watch it at some point.
As like a shorthand to like, oh, this is action, oh, this is, dialogue, important story stuff. Looks really cool. Looks gorgeous. So I've wishlisted both of the ones we've already talked about.
Yeah. I mean, they're both very much question marks for me. I think each of them have like very much their own kind of visual style. And I think for South of Midnight, it's going to depend entirely on the story for if I'll be like a big fan of it. And for Expedition 33, it's going to be the gameplay that's going to be the deciding factor for me. I feel like both of them have just like this one key part where if I gel with it, great. If not, I'm not going to touch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's okay.
I can't play every game.
Yeah. Well,
no, Caedo, I can't. Did you know how many games I've been playing? Too many, Caedo.
You could try, though.
I mean, you could try playing Ninja Gaiden.
Ah, there it is.
Have you played Ninja Gaiden before, Caedo?
I played the Nintendo one.
Ah, you have more experience with this franchise than I do, then.
Way back, and I acknowledge it's very hard and probably not my jam. But what got my interest in this one is that it is a collaboration. This Ninja Gaiden 4 is a collaboration between Team Ninja, who took on the Ninja Gaiden franchise, and Platinum Games, who are legendary in the space for Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. And Bayonetta.
I was about to say, I feel like Bayonetta's their, like, leading with Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. I get that you're a Metal Gear fan, but it doesn't feel like what you lead with Platinum Games.
It's okay. Transformers Devastation, then. You want that one?
Better.
Because that one was fun too.
I mean, I would have gone with like Nier Automata, that kind of stuff.
Nier Automata was another collaboration thing too. Yeah, between
Square
Enix and Platinum. Yeah, I mean that's a good one to bring up.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have the action chops that make me a little more interested in that. Oh yeah, Babylon's Fall that nobody thinks about or talks about anymore. Baby Fall, as we like to call it.
But yeah, apparently they did some work on Final Fantasy 16. They've done a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
They do.
That makes a lot of sense now that you say it out loud.
Yeah, they also did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutants in Manhattan. Yeah,
I was wanting to say a Ninja Turtles game, but there's been too many in the past 5 years, and I have not been keeping up. Maybe even longer now that I'm realizing it's 2025.
It is. Yeah.
But yeah, may not be my thing, but it's definitely a game that I'll watch somebody play. Just because of how stylish I know it's going to be. So
yeah, I'll be honest, it's not really my thing that much either. There are two things I really like though. On the main trailer we've got listed, there's a few beautiful scenery set pieces. Specifically, I'm going to call out 44 seconds in on the Ninja Gaiden 4 trailer. There is a shot where I'm like, that'd be a wallpaper picture I take. That is just
oh yeah,
beautiful.
The cyberpunky.
Yeah, it's just so good. The face thing hanging there with the sign broken off so it moves the jaw down, just absolutely gorgeous. Loving that. And the other thing I really like is, as well as them announcing this, they were like, oh hey, we'll also do a graphical remaster that's available to play right now for Ninja Gaiden 2.
Yeah, and that was like
yeah,
a nice little shadow drop too.
Yeah,
nice.
I really like it when it's, oh, there's a new franchise, new entry in the franchise coming up, but you got to wait for that. So instead, here's a different game you can play right now. Like, we don't see it a lot, but whenever it happens, I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they saved the best for last. Bless you.
Sorry. I did not expect that to be so loud. I literally moved away and turned around. That was so incredibly loud.
Did it?
You know what else is incredibly loud? Doom Guy!
I gotta leave that in now. Now that
I'm so sorry.
Segued from it.
I can't help it.
Doom the Dark Ages got showed off.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of it. And we also got the release date, which is May 15th.
Mm-hmm. I am looking forward to this. Like, it's Doom, but with a much more fantasy edge. Plus, they make a whole point of talking about how Doom 2016 was run and gun, Doom Eternal was like jump and shoot. This one's like hold your ground and fight. And there's like parrying with the shield and punching and smacking with a flail, and super into that.
Yeah, I might want to try this one too, just because of that. And also the things that they showed in the trailer, like the mech dragon as well as the giant mech. That looks like a lot of fun. That looks like a blast. So, also, yeah, the shield, the chain shield thing, it's really, really cool.
It's really, 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 really cool. And they're clearly trying to do quite a lot of set pieces and stuff as well, which I do appreciate. Like, I feel like this is supposed to be a power fantasy sort of game. You're defeating giant demons non-stop constantly. So trying to make it a bit cinematic, but also let you get real crunchy with it. It's just really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think I have any, like, negative thoughts or feelings towards this game. Like, I'm not being like, oh, it probably will be a bit buggy at launch, or oh, maybe there won't be much weapon variety. Like, this is a game where I'm like, I'm pretty confident they're going to do a really good job with it. It all looks cool. I have
one to bring it down.
Go for it.
Mick Gordon is not doing the soundtrack.
Aha.
Yeah.
And Mick Gordon did the other soundtracks?
Yes.
Yes, and that is why it's a bad thing. I'm so bad for music.
Yeah. Mick Gordon was responsible for the iconic Doom 2016 and Eternal soundtracks, but there was a falling out with him. I don't remember the exact details, but yeah, he's no longer part of the project. He did move on to do music for Atomic Heart, which I have the soundtrack for and is also really good. Unfortunately, the game is mixed, but that's always going to be like a sour spot for me, because Mick Gordon has been the Doom music guy for almost 10 years. So, seeing somebody else take that up and not have the same sound either. Like, you can hear, like, even if you listened between Doom Eternal and Doom the Dark Ages soundtracks, there's not that level of crunch in the trailers that you may hear. I don't know if you have more of an ear for music, then you may hear quite a difference between the two. Yeah.
I mean, I like
it's still good. Yeah. The music is still good. I will put that out there.
I just had to unmute it for a second. Yeah, like.
But Mick Gordon unfortunately is not part of it, which sours the experience for me a little bit. Yeah. So
I can understand that.
I just wanted to point that out.
As someone who's just like, music sounds good, music sounds bad, and that's as complex as I get on that thinking. It sounds good to me, so I'm like, no complaints here. No,
you made a whole video about music, Sarge.
I did, but that's music as a narrative tool rather than actual
that's different.
Understanding of music.
Okay.
Yeah. I understand story. I don't understand the sounds that these weird instruments make.
Gotcha.
It's all very confusing to me.
You don't understand the Billy Billy?
No. I'm just like, does this sound good? Yeah, it sounds good. Does this fit with the theme and tone and make emotions happen? Yeah, then that's good.
Yeah.
I'm very simple when it comes to music.
I have it in my blood, so...
Oh, I don't think it's supposed to go there. It's normally your ears that you listen to the music with.
Well, I didn't know that until you said something.
Oh, okay.
So now I got the like going through my heart right now, and I'm probably not gonna last much longer after this podcast. It's fine.
Oh dear. Well, make sure to hit the like button, everyone, for the final episode of the PIPCAST 3000.
It'd be like, man, okay, not to get morbid or anything, but if I die, I don't want any of my series to end on 149. It's not pleasing to look at as the end of a series.
Yeah, I do understand that. I've had a series that's hit the final episode recently, and it's ending on episode 14, and like that episode 14 isn't bad, but the fact episode 15 was like one away really made me wish I was just playing slower, just so I could have it be a bit nicer.
Yeah, understandable. I had at least one of those. I think it was a Fallout 2 playthrough that hit exactly 100.
Yep.
In the episodes, and then had the like bonus post game thing that was like 100.1. Like I wasn't going to call it 101.
Yeah, I was just thinking in my brain and stuff like, so that's why you don't want to do like a compilation video, because then the playlist would be over 100 and stuff. That's
yeah.
I get it. I'm gonna check as well, because I'm pretty sure some of my character build playlists, I think like, was it Fallout 4, my character build playlist? I was like, that's 50, I'm leaving it there and I'm never changing it, was the thought. No, I can't find it. I've got too many playlists. Caedo, I've got 100 playlists. Why have I got 100 playlists? Oh, that's bad.
I think you've done a lot more Let's Plays than me too, or challenge runs. So like,
yeah.
I
mean, I had to make a whole other channel for them.
Yeah, yeah. I'd imagine that's the bulk of your playlists.
Yeah. There's a few things I did as like one-offs and stuff as well. It's just, it's too much. Okay, 75 was where I hit on Skyrim builds. And that was a nice stopping point. Also because I went insane doing them.
Yeah.
But partially because, 75 is a nice number to end on.
Leave a comment now if you want Sarge to go back to Skyrim. So I'm trying to bring it back because I'm sure the talking about how many episodes is the right amount is really fascinating for people.
Honestly, I think we'll get more like engagement from that than most of the rest of the news segment. It's something everyone seems to feel quite strongly about, I found.
No, I'll just be like, one episode's good.
Yeah. I did just find a playlist of mine which has one video in it. I'm like, why? Why did I make that? Gonna have to sort out my playlist.
Did you have grand plans for that one?
Technically, it's something where I've done a couple of builds for, I think, because it's a Cyberpunk 2077 character build playlist, and I think I've done 2 of them. So, yeah, it's annoying, but it's also just got one in the playlist because it's also wrong. But that's boring stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Have we got anything else to say about Doom?
It looks really awesome.
It does.
Doom guy has big fur cloak and also shield and gun is cool. That's all, really.
Yeah. I like how they've managed to keep his design while making it more fantasy.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to look at him and confuse it for anyone else other than Doom guy. But it's also like, Doom guy, but medieval.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. So, now we're ready for our super awesome, amazing ranking thing that, Fallout versus the Elder Scrolls. Let's do it.
Ta-da.
And now Caedo's got to switch recording. Welcome to the Fallout versus Elder Scrolls tier list thing, where you'll finally find out the truth about which game franchise is the best and which game is the king above all, the king of the hill when it comes to all of these games. And
this will prove mathematically which franchise is the best.
Yeah, objectively. This is objectively the most objective list that you'll objectively find on the objective internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. No subjectiveness here.
Nuh-uh.
Whatsoever. So that means we're putting Fallout New Vegas
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. The tiers we have are at the top, we've got God tier, then we've got great, then we got decent, then we've got bad, and then there's two different we haven't played this categories. One for just we haven't played this, and another one for we haven't played this and think it's bad. Because even though we've not played it, it's like we're not going to. It sucks, right? Right?
Yeah.
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 So which one we starting with, Caedo?
Well, it seems like there's more Elder Scrolls games than Fallout games. I wanted to like stagger them.
Okay.
Wait,
let's start with Elder Scrolls.
Where's the first Fallout game?
The first Fallout game
there it
is
is.
Potentially at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, but the order of them always goes about, and I think we've established that the order between our two monitors as well isn't always the same.
Oh, true.
So
yeah.
Okay.
So I'll let you choose where first.
Okay. Let's start with the first Elder Scrolls game, Arena.
Aha! I haven't played it.
Same.
Or I attempted playing it and I'm like, this is old, and then I played something else.
I mean, how much of it did you get to play?
Not enough to remember.
Oh, okay. I think we can put that into the we haven't played this category then.
Yeah, because I have the Elder Scrolls anthology thing that came with it. And I was like, oh, let's pop it in and try it out. And it was like, nah, it's a little too Ultima Underworld for me.
Does that mean it's bad?
No, it doesn't mean it's bad.
Do we think it's bad?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to just put it in we haven't played this. I don't think I've even seen footage of it. Like, yeah, I know a bit about it, but like so little. It always surprises me how a lot of Elder Scrolls fans are. Okay, I'm not sure which of these words I'm allowed to say. Let's go with obsessed is the nicest.
Objective.
Are utterly obsessed to the point of nope, can't use any of those words either. A lot of Elder Scrolls fans are big Elder Scrolls fans. Like they'll go on and on about like the tiniest detail, get like super up in arms about this and that. But so few of them talk about the early games. Like people will spend hours and hours and hours reading up on the lore and then never seem to touch or interact with like the first couple of games, even the first couple of mainline games that came out. And that always surprises me a bit. So, but it also means I know basically nothing about Arena.
Yeah.
Sorry, Arena. You could be good.
That just means they're fairly archaic in how they play.
Yeah.
So going backwards to the Elder Scrolls games is I would argue even harder than going back to the early Fallout games.
Yeah.
Because of how much further back they go, I think.
I mean, it's 94 was Arena.
Yeah. Well, not that far back then.
Yeah, they started at similar times. I think more than anything, the Elder Scrolls had a lot of early games, whereas Fallout had like 2 or 3 early style games, and then everything feels more modern. Like from 3 onwards, everything feels like it can be played by a modern gamer.
Yeah, and with a controller, more importantly.
Yes, that makes a big difference. We've got a reasonable number of platform exclusives on here, I'll say.
Oh yeah,
that's something to look forward to. What are we going next?
Let's knock out some of the obscure Elder Scrolls ones.
I don't think any of these are obscure.
Okay, Redguard. I haven't played it, but I think it's bad. Elder Scrolls
Adventures Redguard. What? You think it's bad?
I've heard it's horrible.
But it's got a predetermined character. And third person. That's something. Apparently the story has political intrigue.
Oh. Like all the Elder Scrolls stories? I mean
it does actually seem quite interesting lore-wise when you do look it up. Because on the little wiki entry it says that it takes place amid the Tiber wars, shortly after Tiber Septon's Third Empire conquered and occupied Hammerfell.
Oh.
And then Hammerfell has like this civil war going on with competing political factions. And the more of this I read, the more of it is like, hold up, this sounds a lot like what I kind of hope Elder Scrolls 6 is.
Oh.
Like, yeah, a lot of the plot sounds quite interesting. There's like assassins shooting people with poisoned arrows, wizards trying to save the princes, chaos going because of this whole thing. Like, the plot genuinely sounds quite interesting, but it doesn't seem to have great reputation along a lot of the internet. It's not terrible, though. Like, it's not a universally panned game, but neither of us have played it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there is quite a difference between, oh, this sounds like a good idea, and, oh, this is a good game.
Yeah, and also, I mean, yeah, the good idea, poor execution, like, happens all the time.
So often.
In everything, not just games. Yep. Good idea, poor execution happens in every media. But this is part of why I wish, like, CamelWorks, like, I had emailed him or something. I wish I'd emailed him or something to have him on for this one, because, like, thinking back, like, he's experienced a lot of these games, like, or tortured himself with them just to like understand like why they're bad or why they're good. So I don't know, maybe a follow-up is overdue or something like that.
I'm sure we can do this again. Come on, Caedo, we're obviously going to be titling this like Fallout or Elder Scrolls, which is better, or something like that. This is going to be one of the more viewed episodes. We can definitely do this again with guests.
Yeah,
that is not impossible.
Or get like all the freaking Elder Scrolls Aussies on. Get Camel and Fudge Muppet.
Yep. Like 5 of us on a call at
Lone
once.
Vault Wanderer. Can't forget him.
Oh god, 6 of us. oh man.
Well, Lone is more Fallout-y though, so he'd be on our side, I think.
I mean,
or on my side. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm very much split. I prefer fantasy over post-apocalypse as a thing, but I'm also more into modern versus older games, and Elder Scrolls does lean more into the old, with only a couple really feeling modern.
Yeah.
So there's a split there. But anyway, we need to get on back to the business. Redguard, is it just going in, we haven't played this, or is it going in, we haven't played this and think it's bad?
You get the bottom one, and we think it's bad.
And think it's bad. Okay. Redguard, I tried to save you. I'm sorry. I did my best.
I think it's bad. I have a negative association with Elder Scrolls Redguard.
I think it sounds interesting, but I've seen nothing about it. I've literally read the wiki page and seen one screenshot one time.
If the lore is good and it plays bad, then it's bad.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Let's grab a Fallout.
Which Fallout do you want to go with?
I'm wondering what this weird one is that looks like a bunch of machinery.
Ah, perfect. But the only one where I could not get an image with a name in, that Caedo, is Fallout Pinball.
Oh, that's what that is. Yep. It's so hard to tell, dude.
It is. Every other image I've got on here, I spent proper time looking for something that was super identifiable, looked good. I cropped everything to be nice. I'm very proud of the Daggerfall one, because that was like a completely out of shape image, and that I managed to crop it nicely. But yeah, Pinball, I could not get a good thing of it. Yeah, there's a Fallout Pinball game.
Yeah, it's more like a
it's
DLC
a pinball table.
Or expansion
it
to
seems
FX Pinball.
Yeah, but there seems to be weirdness online about it. Like, there's several entries I could have put in here, but, like, there's only beta builds out, or there's some other asterisks to them. Fallout Pinball is basically where I drew the line. Where, like, okay, I'll let Fallout Pinball through. Yeah. Everything that's less of the game than Fallout Pinball didn't make it onto the list.
Makes sense.
Have you played it?
I have.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. How was it?
It was a pinball game. It functions. It's decent.
That sounds like it's going into decent.
I would put it in decent.
Yeah. Excellent. I'm glad it is functionally playable. Man, Elder Scrolls, you're not looking good right now.
It plays like you would expect a pinball game to play, so I don't know what you expect beyond that. Like,
annoyingly, I've got a fair bit of experience with pinball games, both real life and video game, but I've not played this one, so I can't judge it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Should I get you FX Pinball and the Fallout and Skyrim pinball machines?
No, we don't.
There's a Skyrim one too.
Oh,
you can fight a dragon.
There was a Skyrim one
with the pinball machine.
Oh, jeez. Weirdly, the Skyrim one didn't show up when I was searching for all the games.
Right.
Fallout Pinball, on the other hand, just shows up all the time.
Because it's a meme.
Yeah.
Skyrim itself is a meme that kind of overpowers, I think, the the pinball thing. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to put another thought in there before we go in on some more Elder Scrolls ones.
There are a lot of Elder Scrolls ones to talk about.
You pick the next one.
Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick the Elder Scrolls Castles. Oh. Because as we were getting ready for this, I was like, okay, what are all the ones that I know both Caedo and I definitely haven't played? And in my mind, I was like, yep, Elder Scrolls Castles, we've not played that. I've played the Elder Scrolls Castles.
Oh!
I played it so I could talk about it on this podcast. And I forgot that I played about it. It sucks. It's going in bad. I'm telling you that right now.
Okay.
This is our first entry in just flat out bad.
Just bad.
Because, like, it feels super generic, first off. It's like, we'll talk about Fallout Shelter and stuff later, but it feels like they were trying to recapture the whole Fallout Shelter thing. But instead of where Fallout Shelter very much lent into the Fallout world and used everything within that to set it apart, like you're controlling a vault, which is part of Vault Tech, which is a very Fallout thing. You've got Vault Boy, and it's all that kind of art style. Elder Scrolls Castles is like somebody told them, oh, we're making a fantasy game of that. Oh, it's got to include, like, cat and lizard people. And that was as much information as they got about the Elder Scrolls. Like, it has technically got more stuff, but it does not feel like an Elder Scrolls game, like, at any point I was playing it.
Yeah, well, even the premise, like castles and keeps themselves are more like springboards for adventuring in the Elder Scrolls, whereas vaults are the actual dungeons that you want to learn more about. Like, there's a and have that story that creative story to build off of more so. Like, what was the experiment here kind of thing. Like Shelter was like hit at just the right time, but it also was like a great idea to turn into what it was. Because there was
like tons of people love the vaults in Fallout. It's a cool thing. You don't hear Elder Scrolls fans talking about how they love the castles.
Yeah.
Because even if they do like a castle in the Elder Scrolls, it's not something you really think of. It's just, this is just part of the fantasy world.
It's just like, oh, this is cool. I wonder who leads this castle. I wonder if they have a quest, and then you leave.
It's like if instead of Fallout Shelter, it was Fallout 10mm, and it was a game about a 10mm pistol or something. It's like,
I would play it.
Yes,
I would play that though.
Unfortunately, this is too memey thing. But if there was some sort of incorporation where it was like, oh, maybe it's a point-and-click shooter with a 10mm pistol or something stupid. I'm like, okay, but it's weird that you've chosen that. That's like such a background detail to the game, which isn't unique to it at all.
What if it was like a truck dismount kind of game, but you were shooting the overseer of Vault 13? Just trying to do as much damage as possible as he made it for the door.
You know what? On that note as well, I'll say that Castles it's not too complicated, but it feels like it's got a lot going on for how little you can actually do. Like, when I played it, it was constantly like, oh, there's a mission on the chair thing, you need to make a decision. Oh, click on this thing to do that, click on that to do that. It's clearly trying to keep you engaged, but there's nothing of real substance or entertainment to keep you engaged with. It just feels like it's got a lot of stuff, and that's about it. And the reason it's got a lot of stuff is also because, obviously, it's monetized through the wazoo.
Yeah.
Like,
which we'll experience a lot of that, actually, as we're going through these games.
Yeah. Actually, this is kind of the first game that I feel like has the proper microtransaction monetization stuff in it. Like, maybe Fallout Pinball, but that is its own thing, and so I think that's okay. Like, it's almost in the DLC category.
That's buying a board, though, basically. You're buying a whole level. Which...
Yeah, whereas Castles is like, hey, do you want to get some more wheat? better pay us some money. Seriously, all the resources, I can't, it may well be wheat. I feel like it's wheat, oil, and timber or something.
It's Farmville, but Elder Scrolls skinned.
It's so stupid. Like, the fact that it's Elder Scrolls skinned, but they didn't use a bunch of Elder Scrolls specific stuff for it is... it's annoying. I hate castles. I had to cut down how many tiers we had because I had multiple negative ones. And I was like, no, I can't do this. Let's just go with bad and leave it at that.
Do you want to pick another one? Or...
No, you can go for one.
Okay. I'm going to pick... I want to knock out some ones I don't think either of us have really done anything with. The Elder Scrolls Travels.
Which one?
Dawnstar and Stormhold.
But that's 2 games, Caedo.
Yeah, have you played either of them?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
They were developed for J2ME and Brew devices.
I don't know what those are.
Nope. It's a platform of some kind. They came out in the early 2000s. Yeah, they're like portable, they're mobile games, essentially.
Oh.
Yeah, but for like early 2000s mobile phones.
Oh, so like, oh man. like Nokia bulletproof phones.
I mean, even less memorable than that is kind of a problem, I think. Yeah. It's just weird. Like, I've not seen any footage of these, but yeah, it's strange. The wiki page literally just says that, like, oh, The Elder Scrolls Travels, Stormhold, or Dawnstar is a role-playing video game developed for J2ME and Brew devices in the style of the games from the main Elder Scrolls series. Like the other 2 titles in the Elder Scrolls Travel series, it was developed and published by Ver2L Studios. The game was released on August 1st, 2003, August 26th, 2004. I had to make 2 alterations there between the 2 wiki entries for those games. There's nothing said about them. There's no information on them.
It just says,
like, even their icons don't have anything.
It just says their state of existing, and that's it. Okay, cool.
There's also a bunch of other ones. Like, there's an Elder Scrolls Travels Oblivion, which is not on the list because it didn't get released.
Oh,
but that's on there as well.
Oh, that one would have been great.
Okay, this is obviously going into one of the we haven't played this. I don't know if we can say we think it's bad because there's just nothing about it. Does that mean it is bad, or is it just forgettable?
I'm just gonna say we haven't played this for both of those.
Fair.
The Elder Scrolls Travels.
I'm happy with that. And I mean, while we're on it, we may as well talk about Shadowkey as well.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it's another game of the same sort, made by the same studio. This time for the N-Gage.
That's a name I know, though.
Yeah, if you look at it, it is Nokia. If you Google what N -gauge is, it's a mobile device combining features of a cellular phone and a handheld game system.
Yep.
It was released in October 2003.
Imagine putting your Nintendo Switch up to the side of your head. It's not that big, though, but it's I just think it's funny to think about.
It's a great, like, visual example of what early 2000s gaming companies were up to.
More like putting a PSP up to the side of your head. That's closer to the form factor.
Yeah. Shadowkey, though, because it was developed for something other than just a mobile phone, seems to have actual reviews and stuff.
What?
Which are generally mixed.
Huh.
It's got a 59 on Metacritic, and Avery's score of GameSpot criticized a lot of the game, said the gameplay felt crippled by the technological limitations of the device, and dismissed the storyline as unremarkable, but praised the game's co-op multiplayer mode and the use of the soundtrack from Morrowind. Yeah. Shadowkey sounds real interesting when you start looking into it.
Uh-oh, Sarge.
Uh-oh, indeed. We had a multiplayer Elder Scrolls game.
Oh, no!
Years ago. So many years ago. So, God tier, right? Surely.
Watch for B-roll next episode of Elder Scrolls Shadowkey, where me and Sarge are playing on our Nokia phones. Our N-Gauges.
Yeah. I think obviously this one has to go into we haven't played this, but I don't think it's going to go into the bad one.
No, this is in the that we haven't played.
Yeah, but there's genuinely like some interesting stuff around it, which it sounds like honestly probably is bad, but it also sounds interesting enough that I don't think that it's definitely bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if anyone in the comments has played any of the games that we haven't played this, please let us know as much information as possible.
Yes. We could definitely use it for some of these really obscure ones, especially.
Yeah.
It's like, man, what is the shadow key? Is it a Daedric artifact? Is it just the skeleton key, but different name?
Yeah,
what is it?
I'm not sure as well, because it's not going to be related to the Elder Scrolls, because I know that the Elder Scrolls didn't actually show up until Oblivion. So it's not like to do with the other part of it. So yeah, it always feels weird to me that the Elder Scrolls franchise came up with all of these different legendary things, but didn't come up with an Elder Scroll until Oblivion.
Is that really true? Like there was no Elder Scroll actually used?
The Elder Scrolls don't show up in the games until Oblivion.
Whoa.
Yeah. It was
and
just
then they become a MacGuffin after that, which is funny.
Yeah. I mean, especially as someone who started with Skyrim and then went back and played Oblivion and has dabbled in the others, it feels so weird to me whenever I recall or double check as well, because I have to double check sometimes. But yeah, the Elder Scrolls didn't show up in the Elder Scrolls franchise for so long. It's like if Fallout forgot to have the apocalypse happen. It's like, come on, that's the entire title we're talking about.
I'm sorry, where's the Fallout in my Fallout?
Yeah.
Developers. Seems like you forgot something.
Yeah, and speaking of Fallout, why don't you pick us a Fallout one to talk about?
I'm thinking of picking something that'll be in Great or God tier. Maybe something that'll be in God tier. So I'm gonna grab the OG Fallout.
That's fair.
And I'm gonna put it in.
You know we're supposed to have a discussion about this, right?
I'm gonna put it in.
Caedo, no, we need to talk about it.
I'll put it in Great.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I was gonna say, yeah, I think it's definitely a very good game. Even as someone who doesn't like the isometric style and was, I don't know, let's assume I wasn't born when it came out. I'd like to feel young. Yeah, I still can very much appreciate its merits. There's a lot of good stuff about it. It almost feels like a backhanded compliment, but I really like how short it is.
That's not. I mean, in today's gaming space, like shorter is kind of better if it tells a good story. So,
like, I did a very thorough. I did a pretty thorough playthrough. Like, I went through, I played the game, I did extra stuff, I explored a bit, and I think it was like under 20 hours. I had literally everything that I wanted to do done. And I missed out on like one location, I think, and a couple of minor quest lines. Like, I wasn't missing a lot from that playthrough, which was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very good game.
Yep.
For its time.
Great even.
And it's, yeah. I'm happy to put it in Great. Honestly, it feels weird that I'm not the one arguing to have it put down. I thought you'd be arguing for God tier, and then I'd have to, like...
I saw the other games in the list, and it, like... I'm trying to fight my biases, like, as we're talking about Fallout, so don't worry. I'll put something in God tier that you're going to argue, probably. So.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at all of these being
Fallout
like, which is it going to be?
I'm just kidding.
I thought that might be it, honestly, because you've played that, I've not.
Well, I have, but it's something else. It's not God tier. All right. You pick one.
Oh, God. Let's talk about Battlespire.
Okay. More like you talk about it, because I don't.
Have you not played it at all?
Nope.
Well, Caedo, good for you. I have this installed right now on my computer.
You did research?
Caedo, I have the game. I'm booting up the app, which is for some reason taking forever. It's like real slow all of a sudden, which is kind of worrying. It's never taken this long to load before. Once this thing is booted, oh my God, there we go. Once it's booted up, I can tell you in any second now that I installed the Elder Scrolls and Elder Scrolls Legend Battlespire 265 days ago, and I've not played it. I had so much time to prepare for this, and I just haven't booted up the game. It would take me seconds to just boot it up and be like, oh, this is a game. I've got the wiki page, though.
Okay.
So, yeah, it says, throughout the game, there are no merchants to buy items from, and consequently there are no gold pieces to fight. Enemies do not reset when the player leaves the area, and they are also not randomized. And apparently there's a multiplayer feature for a cooperative mode to follow the single-player story online, as well as a team-based versus mode to fight using all the same strategies from single player. That's right, we've had a PvP Elder Scrolls game for years now. Since 19... Actually, can you guess what year it is?
93.
Caedo, Arena came out in 94.
Okay, 96.
It's 97.
Everything came out in 97.
Somehow thought this came out before the first Elder Scrolls game. Yeah, it seems interesting. I can actually read through the entire plot here because it's very short. In Battlespire, named so after the training facility for battle mages, the player takes the role of an apprentice, who on the day of his final test discovers that an army of Daedra led by Mehrunes Dagon has invaded and killed nearly everyone. On top of that, his partner is being held captive by Mehrunes Dagon himself. Over the course of 7 levels, the player must travel through various realms of oblivion to reach Mehrunes Dagon, defeat him, and escape back to Tamriel.
That doesn't sound like a very long game.
Nope, it sounds really short. So
Sarge,
I'd like
you
to
could have
point out
beaten
again,
this by now.
Yep, I had 265 days to play this in, and I did not do it. And here's the thing. I don't think we should put this in and think it's bad. I think this is just we haven't played this.
Yeah, I think it is too. I've got 5 in there now.
Yeah. Yep, we got 5 in there. I originally had these as we haven't played this and we're not going to, but I renamed it specifically because of Battlespire.
I need to reassure all the people listening right now because of how my screen looks. I have played a lot of these games. We're just going through the ones we haven't.
Fake fans. This episode is going to be one where we get people who are new to the channel. And it's not even like when it was on the Caedo Genesis channel and people would have tons of your other videos showing up and being like, oh, okay, this guy's clearly played a lot of Fallout. It's like, no. People are just going to be like, wow, these two guys never played any of these games, sir.
Have you guys ever gamed, actually?
I mean, it's also looking real bad on the Elder Scrolls front, because our only 2 positive games are the 2 Fallout games we've had. All of the negative ones, or neutral technically,
I feel like we should pick out one of the big 3 for Elder Scrolls games before we start looking real awful.
You mean like Blades?
No,
that's one of the big
Sarge,
3, right?
No.
Okay, you know what? Let's hit the big one now. Skyrim. Ah, man, I want to put Skyrim in God tier.
I agree.
Like, yeah, I have complaints with the game.
Same.
The game has driven me insane.
Same.
It's not aged poorly, but there are definitely things that if you go back and play it, you're like, oh, this is a bit annoying. But it's really good, and it's so successful. Like, arguably the most successful and widely recognized game out of any of these on the list.
Oh, by far.
It is.
Yeah, it's like,
just...
It's become a legendary game. Like, if you say Skyrim to a non-gamer, they'll know what you're talking about. Like, it has surpassed its own realm.
Yeah. I feel like people who don't like Bethesda games still like Skyrim as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, generally Skyrim's biggest criticisms comes from people who are like, oh, it's too simplistic, or, like, it's not innovative enough. But the flip side to all of that, oh, it's not super complex in some weird way, is it's super accessible for people. And it's like, it's not done in a, we've made this game as basic as possible, we've just done it in the anyone can play this game sort of method. Which is good. Yeah,
and other things were like added over time too to make it more challenging and more complex if you want it to be.
Yeah.
Either through the paid mods or through just the regular mods or through the creation stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
and Anniversary gave us like all of them.
And updates and stuff too is a thing. Yeah.
Or sorry, Anniversary gave us the first wave of creations. And then I fall back into a critique where I'm just like, oh, they made another wave of creations. Great. They're going to have Anniversary 2.0 at some point.
I mean, Special Edition actually came with the first wave of creations, I think. It was after that, and then Anniversary came later with even more creations, and now they're making more creations, and yeah, it goes on forever.
It does.
Yep. I've actually been watching a small YouTuber play through Skyrim for the first time, and I'll say it's been really interesting watching her play, because she plays differently to how I would at almost every scenario.
Did you see the ants?
She's not looked at... I don't think so. I'd have to go back and watch the early episodes to make sure. She has done the thing which I thought everyone was joking about, but apparently people do, which is use cheese as the main healing item, which I never did, because I can read numbers and understand what they mean. And I was like, oh, something that weighs a lot and heals a small amount, why don't I just have a potion instead? But she's on like episode... What episode is she on? She's like played for quite a while now. She's halfway through the Thieves Guild and has just kind of started to go, maybe I'll stock up on potions rather than just picking up food constantly.
Yeah.
And
I mean, when it comes to like what's more accessible to like heal with, like just mass amounts of food you can find everywhere. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. But it did kind of reframe things for me and make it very much clear that, like, oh yeah, this is a game that can be approached in so many ways. Like, she struggled a bit at points, but even though she's played completely different to, like, a Skyrim veteran like myself, still had a good time, still found lots of interesting stuff. The game's just really good.
Yeah, I agree. Even though we're both kind of exhausted by Skyrim.
Yep. Look, here's the thing. Skyrim is great. Please keep it away from me.
I'll come back around eventually, and then I'll burn right back out again. That's how it works.
My plan is to pick it up once we've got like a release date for Elder Scrolls 6, and I'll just like kind of feed into Elder Scrolls 6 by bringing back Elder Scrolls fans with a bit of Skyrim content here and there. But that's probably like, what, 20, 30 years away, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'll be in my 50s, I'm sure, by the time we get that.
Baby Sarge!
Okay, what one are we picking next, Caedo?
Let's go with... Oh, this is going to be a saucy one. New Vegas.
Oh, bad game.
It's
Game
bad.
sucks.
It's bad.
Oh. Okay, I will say New Vegas is going in the positive section.
Yes.
I think overall it is a good game. It's often an overrated game.
Yes.
I will say that.
Yes, it is.
Like, I feel like a lot of the people who like it enjoy the memory of it more than the game itself. And they just remember, like, all these really good characters and this... I was going to say this interesting story. Honestly, the story's not that great. The story has good moments and a few decent hooks, but the overall plot of New Vegas isn't anything that special in my
That's
opinion.
like the spiciest thing I've heard you say in a while for New Vegas.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. You said the story's not that great. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the story's bad. I think it's just a decent story. Like, if we were rating these just on story alone, New Vegas would go in decent. What the story does is facilitate you meeting lots of different characters and factions, and that's when New Vegas shines. It's got great characters in, it understands how factions should work, it's got this nice little reputation and karmic style system. Like, it does all of that stuff really well, and that's why it doesn't need to have the greatest story, because the story's just there to push you along and get you to the good bits. So I think that's really good of it. It's also, you know what, we're the unique guys. We need to give credit for it being really good on the unique front.
Yeah, that's true. Out of pretty much all of these that we've played, New Vegas does uniques the best. Yeah.
It's, I think almost every single weapon, like the base variant, comes with a unique, which is just very good to see.
Yeah, most of them.
I feel like there's a handful of exceptions, but I think it's like a single-digit number of exceptions.
Yeah.
In a game with dozens upon dozens of different weapons.
Yeah, and they went kind of ham on just the amount of weapons too.
Yeah. So I feel like New Vegas does not need as many different weapons as it has.
Oh, it doesn't at all.
Like,
they just did
I think the one that always stands out to me is like the police pistol. how that one they threw it in the DLC, and I was like, you've got so many similar pistols to this already in this game. You didn't need a new one that's virtually the same.
I think the reason I would guess it was part of the, like, you start at 0 with gear in Dead Money. They needed to put something for the cowboy perk in there.
Yeah, but they could have just put like a 357 revolver, surely.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's not the most like crazy looking revolver. It's just a police revolver. So
yeah. But anyway, that's not even a negative thing I have with it. That's just me going, you didn't really need to do this. You could have simplified it a tiny bit and it would still have been just as good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Negative things are obviously the launch was insanely buggy.
Yeah.
And even to this day, it's got a fair few bugs. It's
Yes,
not bug-free. It's always worth remembering that. Oh, we should have said that with Skyrim as well, obviously.
Yeah.
But with basically any of the most modern games in both franchises, they're buggy. One thing I genuinely dislike about New Vegas is the weapon packs, I suppose we're calling them, Gunrunner's Arsenal. And how at the start of the game, it just gives you a bunch of overpowered loot.
Oh, no, that's not GRA. That's the Courier Stash.
I thought it was both.
That's Courier Stash is like 4 different packs that were based on where you purchased it. And they put them all into one thing, which is why it's such an overwhelming amount of gear. It's because it was actually 4 packs that were just thrown together into one thing.
Mm-hmm. That's it. I'm trying to find out what the name of the 4 packs were.
The Tribal Pack, the Mercenary Pack, the Vault Dweller,
the Classic Pack, and the Caravan Pack.
The Caravan Pack. Okay, yeah, I got 2 right.
I was impressed with that. You like read them off as I found them, so that's very solid. Yeah, these were things that have been given as pre-order bonuses from buying the game from certain stores.
Yep,
and it's clearly like shoehorned in just a thing to get more people buying the game and pure like promotional.
I think it was like when they were like struggling to get people to buy physical copies, or like what maybe when it started on its decline. It's just like, oh, you can get, if you get a physical copy here, you get bonuses for this kind of thing.
But yeah, I really don't like the Courier Stash. I've had a look through Gunrunner's Arsenal as well, and this is actually one I'm 50-50 on, I suppose. Like, I like that it adds stuff. I'm kind of annoyed that it is just kind of here's a bunch of guns and ammo DLC.
Also challenges. There are also a lot of challenges that they added.
Yeah, it adds some challenges. It's mostly like use the new weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
I suppose it's got the Mad Bomber perk in it, so you're going to be a fan.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm not a fan of that as a DLC, but yeah, Courier Stash is the one I have an actual problem with. Because that it feels too much like pay to win, so to speak.
It does,
like,
yeah.
It's not exactly that, but you are literally paying for an easier start to the game, including stuff like the Mercenary's Grenade Rifle. Like, years ago, at the start of my channel, I did a level 1 Deathclaw hunt in New Vegas, and I killed like 3 or 4 Deathclaws. Just because you start with the Mercenary's Grenade Rifle. Like, it's stupid.
Makes sense.
It kind of messes up the whole progression for the start of the game as well. Like, you have to actively make the choice to not use any of the stuff you're given if you want to keep the kind of difficulty curve as it was intended to be.
If it wants to feel more authentic, then...
Yeah.
And also, like, the Mercenary Pack was clearly one of the strongest of them because of that grenade rifle.
Yeah. Like the Tribal Pack, you get a machete, and you do get 10 throwing spears.
Throwing spears are really strong.
Those things aren't going to work well. Yeah. But the Mercenary Pack is like, the grenade rifle is a ridiculous weapon.
Yeah.
Just absolutely ridiculous. The Caravan Pack came with binoculars as one of the things, which is, it feels kind of pointless. And it feels even worse considering the weapon you get with that is a shotgun. So it's like, aha, I've spotted the enemy at range. Now to walk up point blank to them. Yeah. It's like if it was like, oh, you've got a sniper. No, a sniper and binoculars wouldn't work either, because snipers have scope. If you just had a rifle, like a cowboy repeater, I suppose.
I think we're overthinking this. I think it's the binoculars are for role-playing.
Yes, but Courier Stash sucks, and I'm very angry and bitter about it, as you can tell. That said, I think New Vegas at least deserves to be in great.
Yeah, for sure.
Would we put it in God tier?
Based on like how it's been, kind of like how it's been treated over the years as like something that is on a pedestal for some, but it has reached kind of legendary status even within the Fallout community. For better or for worse. So I kind of want to put it in God tier because of like how the reception has been just for that long. Because like,
I mean, it's funny because for the exact same reasons I kind of don't want to put it in God tier, but that's because I feel like there's too many of the for worse people when it comes to talking about New Vegas. And I think, to be fair, we are not rating the game's audience here. We are rating the game. And I think the game deserves to be in God tier. It's very good.
Okay.
New Vegas fans, on the other hand, wouldn't be quite so high on the list.
Yeah, I don't always recommend Fallout fans in general.
Like, but it can be good, it can be bad.
As someone who frequents the Fallout community often and cultivates his own.
I mean, you know what? Game has, I think, the best fan base in the Fallout franchise. Fallout 3.
Really?
Fallout 3 fans. It's because people, I don't think, really bring it up that often, but it is a game that people like and is like, oh yeah, that's fine. And
I thought you were going to say a different Fallout game.
No. You know what? Second best, I'd say, but there are some people who can be annoying about it. Like, it's got a big enough fan base, but it's always going to step into the annoying bit. The smaller your fan base is, the better odds that it's going to be a really good community.
For real.
Unfortunately, just as the fan bases get bigger, they always trend towards worse.
Yeah. Also, I know there's like a Venn diagram of like if there's like PvP elements. The salts and the vitriol kind of come out of the woodwork when that stuff's introduced. So as someone who's been partaking in some PvP, people are salt factories, dude. They get mad.
I'm so glad I avoid PvP these days.
Name call everybody in the chat, and they're just like, man, you guys suck, you guys are the worst, and we're just like, man, chill.
I was genuinely quite good at Apex Legends, but between the effect it had on my heart rate, the anxiety of, oh, am I doing enough for my team, and occasionally people being like, screw you, dude, why didn't you save me when I charged headlong into combat completely naked? It was like, yeah, you know what? I don't need to play this anymore. Alright, Caedo, what game we putting on the list next?
Okay, well, since you were just talking about it, let's plan for Fallout 3. Let's see.
Oh, so we're putting that in God tier, right?
Fallout 3 is your introduction to the series, correct?
Technically, yes. And weirdly, considering I was just like, oh, let's put it in God tier, I didn't like it at first.
Yeah.
I think Fallout 3 has quite a bad opening. Like, I get what they were going for. I think on paper, some of it makes sense. Like, oh, you get a bit of an insight into what Life in Vaults was like. You get like this slow build up, and it teaches you about how conversations can have consequences.
It's really long, even though they shaved off
it's so long.
years of your character's life just to make it quicker.
But it just takes way too long. The problem as well is if you want to replay it, so many of the triggers you're waiting for are literally waiting for someone to like get up and walk to somewhere, or following someone, or just waiting for a conversation to start. There's just so much waiting around for stuff to happen in the intro.
Yeah. As the first introduction to Bethesda's Fallouts as well in the 3D space, I think presentation was pretty great.
Yeah. The I think leaving the vault that specific moment, like, pretty much all of the future Fallout games have tried to replicate it in some way.
Yeah, unmatched.
Yeah. Even Fallout 4, which I feel like should have been better because you're seeing the entire wasteland through such a distance and it's so much graphically improved. And yet Fallout 3, even though you're only seeing a little bit, just the sheer devastation you get as well, just, it's perfect.
Yeah.
New Vegas as well. That's one point where it did not do it good justice.
No.
It's like, oh, you've stepped out of a house and
A
it looks
clinic.
like you're in a desert in America. It's like, honestly, as someone who's seen footage of some like rural rundown places in the United States, I wouldn't even know it was the post-apocalypse right away, leaving New Vegas if that happened to me in real life.
Good Springs has
It'll take me a good few minutes.
Has been kept up pretty well, actually. Yeah, this is just the South.
But Fallout 3 does the wasteland perfectly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It is the best vibes. Like, you feel like you're walking through a destroyed country in a way that I don't think any other Fallout game has actually managed. It is the only one where I feel like I'm in the post-apocalypse, and I love it for that.
Yeah. So, is it God tier or is it great?
I mean, I want to put it in God tier, but I can be fought down to great if you've got any complaints or criticisms you could put in addition to, like, the bad opening.
Well, the ending. That they had to...
I mean, they broke and steeled the ending.
They broke and steeled the ending.
Yeah.
Which fixed it, kind of.
Like, I am thinking of the basically Game of the Year edition of the game when I'm in my own head. Much like in New Vegas, I was thinking about, like, the full DLC.
The Ultimate Edition, yeah.
Yeah. For all of these modern games, I am thinking of with all the bells and whistles that are
I mean, that's why we put
standard.
Skyrim God tier, too, because of, like, Anniversary Edition plus everything else. So, I think it's a great jumping off point, but it's not like, it's not the fully matured version, so that makes me kind of want to put it in great, kind of similar to Fallout 1. Like, it was the beginning, but there's more to build off of, kind of thing.
I can understand
is
that.
my kind of thinking on it.
Yeah. I mean, as you're talking about that, there's a few things I thought about as well, like the lack of aiming down sights. That was annoying.
That's rough.
The like junk and stuff in Fallout 3 is just completely worthless. Like, so often it's real bad. Like, New Vegas made it marginally better, but still was bad in that game. But like, a lot of stuff you pick up in Fallout 3 is just like, yeah, there's no point to this. It's just a thing. Like, that.
Or it's got like a really niche use, like the Wonder Glue for like one of the, I think it's one of the craftables, right? But also the Mole Rat Wonder Meat.
Yeah, there's quite a few things where it's like, this just feels like you could have done it better, or like, which we will see in the future.
There are blood packs, man. Blood packs.
Yeah,
save them up for fans.
And if you do this one quest, they can become still kind of bad, but not useless. Like, yeah, Fallout 3's got its flaws, but it is a great game. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
It also did random encounters probably
better than any game on this list, I'm gonna say.
Probably. Well, based on sheer number, yeah, I suppose. I think I'll agree.
Like, I think there's other games on this list which do random encounters very well. Like, I think Skyrim actually does random encounters pretty damn well, but Fallout 3 is, like, the best random encounter game in my opinion.
Yeah, check out the first couple episodes of my Fallout Roulette, where I get the Fire Lance in the first location I explore after Megaton.
That is so memorable that I remember you getting it, and I remember a stream I did years and years ago of me getting it randomly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's brilliant. So good.
Yep.
Okay.
And then trying to find it on the ground, and all of the the energy cells down on its own is a fun adventure.
Little scavenger hunt for you.
I'm glad they glow.
Yeah. I think one of the earliest videos of yours I watched was the steel ingot guide for the pit.
That's a
little fun fact.
I'm still proud of that one. That's one of my best guides that
is very good.
Doesn't really need a remaster or anything like that.
Yeah. It was probably how I found your channel, because I know I wasn't really much of a guide watching person in general, but I know there are a few Fallout 3 guides I watched back in the day, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
It's very helpful. Let me
I
get
mean,
all of them.
dude, it's also before I learned like proper editing and like showing maps and stuff like that. So I was, I think I could have like gotten the because it's an interior map that it uses for the Steel Yard, which makes it all kinds of jank to try and like show to people. So my solution for that was just to like section off like levels of the Steel Yard, and it worked somehow. Like it blew my mind that
you
it
categorized it. You did the top down shots as well, so you can get a good idea of it when you're going in.
Yeah,
your character walked up. That's a guide you should be proud of forever.
One of the best guides I've ever done, because I was creative against my own limitations. And the game's limitations obviously too.
Okay, speaking about games with limitations, what we gonna pick for that segue?
Oh boy. Elder Scrolls Legends.
Oh yeah, I can talk about Legends.
Okay.
Did you play Elder Scrolls Legends at all?
I did not.
I played a fair bit of it. I made a video on it called The Worst Elder Scrolls Game I've Played.
Well,
and I'm split on it. I'm split between putting it in either bad or decent. Because it is a card game. And just as a card game that you can play, it's actually quite good. It's got some interesting stuff. It's still fairly simple, but has a bit of nuance to it. It is a fun card game.
Wasn't it? It's also service cancelled too?
Yes, the service got cancelled for it. The problem is it's also very much like it suffers from the same sort of stuff that Magic the Gathering is famous for, which is like, you can very much pay to have the best deck, and that's how you win, which is no fun at all.
Yay, pay to win. Whoa.
Yeah, there's a lot of randomness in it. Like, you just have to kind of draw the right sort of cards. If you draw all your high-cost cards right away, then you've just lost the game, basically, and there's not much you can do about it. Like, it's got a lot of these problems. But it's cool. It is still quite a fun card game. I would actually love to see a slightly modified version of it just show up in future mainline Elder Scrolls as a minigame.
Yeah.
Because I think it could work. And between both of these franchises, I think minigames would be a really good thing to see.
For real. Like New Vegas... Was New Vegas like the only one to actually like jump in with both feet in that way?
I think it might be. Yeah, and God, New Vegas did not do a great job. And yeah, it's the only one that tried. Like, its one like new thing was Caravan, which has a whole meme that nobody understands.
Which is also buggy. Like, like your deck wasn't really your deck kind of thing. I don't know if that got patched ever or it needed a mod to fix it. But then they had all the casino games.
The casino games. Like, which was just taking games that already exist.
Yeah, but they were fully featured too. Like you would go to a new screen at the table and it would animate and stuff like that. Like it was all there. Like they spent time to make sure that was included, even if they were existing games. Like mini games were there.
And I'm 100% for mini games in RPGs
for sure.
It just helps so much. And you know what? For that reason, I kind of want to put this in decent.
Okay.
Because I think there were good ideas here, and the core game itself is not bad. It was just let down by all of the standard TCG stuff that goes on, and the fact that they didn't really stick with it. Like, it almost felt like it was a bit of a cash-in. Like, they made a few campaigns you can go through, some bonus decks, and then just kind of abandoned it. I think part of it is that they may have done it in the wrong direction too. Like this wasn't introduced via a mainline game. It was just introduced as a standalone thing. And that's really hard to pull off, I think, especially nowadays when there's plenty of options for trading card games that have digital versions now. Because I think like Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering kind of have that locked down pretty well. Yeah,
because like even Gwent Like, even based on its popularity in The Witcher 3, Gwent did okay.
Yeah.
As a standalone.
I think if they did a similar thing to this with Gwent, then it probably would still be around today. I don't think it'd be as big as Gwent, because I think Gwent is just a bit better. But I think it could have survived and had a fan base.
Yeah. I'm okay with decent. I didn't play it, so I can only complain about the money hungry part of it.
Yeah.
Which I'm a broken record on that, and I will continue to be on some of these anyway.
All right. Let's go for a game without too much monetization then.
Okay.
Let's talk about tactics, because I just did a bunch of talking for that one, and I have basically nothing to say for Fallout
Tactics.
Yeah.
Not Final Fantasy Tactics.
No, that's not Caedo. We can't add Final Fantasy games to this list.
Not
as well.
Tactics Ogre, dude. Wouldn't that be insane?
Like, we've got 25 games to get through here, and we're already like an hour and a half into recording. Final Fantasy's probably got like 30 or 40 different games. It's so many.
I don't like that I would put it in the same category as Legends, though, but I'm going to.
You're putting Tactics in decent.
Yeah. Fallout Tactics is a game that I think everybody should try. It's unfortunate that its full title is Fallout Tactics Brotherhood of Steel, which is always confused with Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. They are very different games. And they are for different platforms, and they are different settings, and they have different characters. Like, they couldn't be more far different from each other, but they get confused. So Fallout Tactics is the one I recommend. Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, which we'll get into later, is the one I don't.
I mean, honestly, we could jump into Fallout Brotherhood of Steel right now if you wanted to.
Okay, but I want to talk about Tactics a little bit more, just for my reasonings for why it's decent.
That's fair.
Fallout Tactics is specifically a game where you star as a squad of initiates of the Brotherhood of Steel, but this is the Midwest Brotherhood of Steel that inspired some of the choices for Fallout 4, and maybe even some in Fallout 3, actually, because blimps were shown for the first time, and usable vehicles were shown for the first time in Fallout Tactics. So this is a break off of the Brotherhood, where they need to rebuild their forces, and they're a lot more I mean, they're still kind of bigoted, because that's kind of how the Brotherhood always kind of operates, but they are willing to take on other people besides humans into their ranks, which makes it really fun, kind of a fun grab bag of how you can build out your squad. I think it's up to 6 characters, and they can obviously be tribals from the area, they can be mutants, they can be deathclaws, they can be ghouls. You have a nice variety there. Also, Fallout Tactics, in my opinion, has one of the coolest designs for power armor, because it's like, if the Brotherhood took the advanced power armor from the Enclave after Fallout 2, and they were just like, let's make it more imposing by just making proper horns on it, and then like put our battle standard and some chains in there. Like, it just looks cool to me. So the one thing, well, there's a couple things. There's a couple things that make it kind of fall short of great and god tier, and it's that the game feels like it was rushed. It's still the isometric view, but it has a real-time combat toggle that you can turn on. I think it starts on by default, because that's how they tested it. As far as I recall, they implemented the real-time mode just so they could test it faster. And they just kind of left it in for players to use, I'm guessing. So that's how I ended up playing it. But unfortunately, when you set up a squad of 6 people and you're fighting another squad on the other side of the field, and you all are using automatic weapons, you're gonna hit all your friends one way or another. So it's like Ian 2.0 from Fallout 1. There's going to be so much collateral damage that by the end, you're probably just going to use one dude in power armor and just mow through all of the enemies with that one dude, because it's safer to do it that way. So there is some like tactical flaws in Fallout Tactics, but the power fantasy is also there once you hit that level of, you know, having decent power armor and just crushing people under your boot. The main antagonist is AI powered robots, and the story behind it is actually kind of intriguing as well. Think like kind of a Terminator kind of vibe. That's always been like an underlying threat in some of the Fallout stories anyway. But it kind of goes off the deep end by the time you hit the end, and it is really cool. And I didn't mention the vehicles. You can perform proper drive-bys in an APC and in random encounters and just drive off the map and be like, bye later, suckers. And like that's how you do random encounters in Fallout Tactics once you have a vehicle. It's so funny. Out of all the Fallout games, this one has some of the most exclusive things to it, including the vehicles. So that's specifically why I recommend it to a lot of people, is because it has some features that are really fun to it as well. And it's not so alien like Fallout Brotherhood of Steel with its systems and perspective and different gameplay style. Like if you play the first two games, like you'll kind of like, once you vibe with the art style, it's a little different. A lot of the basis is still there for like character building and stuff. So I feel like I just reviewed Fallout Tactics.
You very much did. Are you ready to review Fallout Brotherhood of Steel as well?
Oh, this one's bad.
This can be a shorter review.
Yeah. Its soundtrack doesn't match the vibe of Fallout. The soundtrack as a standalone is great because it's got, you know, Slipknot and Cell Dweller and stuff like that, but it doesn't fit the Fallout vibe. Fallout Brotherhood of Steel has preset characters. You don't just make your own character. That's one big downside of Fallout Brotherhood of Steel over any of the other ones, is you get a character that's already established. There's another one where you're playing as initiates of the Brotherhood of Steel, and there's even returning characters that have no right to be in this game, including the original Vault Dweller, which is so dumb, and he becomes unlockable. It's even more dumb because he's the most powerful character in the game. But it's just it's a gauntlet style, like hack and slash kind of thing, but also with guns. It's a level to level kind of dungeon delve thing, instead of feeling like a proper like RPG where you're exploring and stuff like that. It's more just like kill dudes, avoid traps, kill dudes. Oh, look, loot, kill more dudes. Not much matters when it comes to the NPCs and their quests kind of thing. It's more just like kill more dudes. And that's largely what the game is. And also just by the end it gets really repetitive. I challenge anyone to get to the end of Fallout Tactics, or sorry, not Fallout Tactics, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. See, I even confuse them. Get to the end of Fallout Brotherhood of Steel on the PlayStation 2 or the Xbox and say that you're still having a good time. That's my challenge to you, because it drags so badly towards the end. Kite and I just wanted to be done when we co-opt it. If you want to catch that, like, there's highlights of it on my main channel and the playthrough if you want to put yourself through that, or just play it yourself. If you emulate it, I won't judge. You can do that. That's how I recorded the B-roll for it a while ago, actually, because I own it. I can justify. It's totally fine. Nobody's gonna care that I have Brotherhood of Steel. Like, no, Bethesda doesn't even care. They don't even talk about it.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, it's bad.
Yep, it's bad. No argument from me here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go on to a game which will have a bit more nuance to it, I think. The Elder Scrolls Online. This is a more...
A more what?
Morpg.
Morpg? Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's an MMORPG, which... Have you played much of ESO?
I played when the Morrowind expansion came out, and Lone Vault Wanderer gave me a key.
Yes, that would make sense.
So this was years ago. This was
yeah,
like 2017, 2016. It was a long time ago, dude.
yep. Well, I can tell you that on PC, I last played it in 2021, and I also feel like I played it a year or two ago, like on console. Like, this is a game I've dipped into and out of over and over again, and really tried to enjoy, because I don't think this is a bad MMORPG. I think that I don't like MMORPGs, and that's where the problem comes in. Because there's so many things going on that I do not care about, but I also know just how many people really love this game. Like, there's a big dedicated fan base, and people get like fully into it, sink in tons of time, and seem to have a genuinely great experience. And yeah, there's some good things about it. Like, I found the abilities and stuff nice and straightforward. I was glad to find that I can like switch perspective and kind of have some nice alterations to settings and stuff, which I at first didn't think were going to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of places to explore, and the game seems very open to letting you explore and just kind of do your own thing, which I do appreciate. I just don't like it, unfortunately.
So you're gonna put it in bad?
No.
Oh.
I think it deserves to be indecent.
Okay.
I don't think it's a bad game. I think I'm a bad player of it.
You're a bad gamer.
I'm not into MMOs is really the problem here.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell that there's stuff going on which people do enjoy, and I've seen some people get like really into house building and things like that. It has got a lot of monetization, which I'm not a huge fan of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really seems to go heavy on that,
mm-hmm.
which immediately disqualifies it from like going much higher, in my opinion. But overall, it does seem like a decent game. I just don't think I'm ever gonna really get into it.
I kind of felt the same. It just this is a tired argument, but like I expect specific things when I play an Elder Scrolls game, and I just wasn't feeling it when I made my Wizard Lizard.
Yeah,
it's a fine MMO, but
mm-hmm.
I just play Warmane now. If I want to scratch that itch, but because of I also have that nostalgia factor with that one. Like, I've tried other MMOs just like you. Like, I've tried other MMOs and played for a little while or gone real hard on them, but then I just drop off completely, like sharply, because it burns out for me. I don't know. Maybe it's something I've just grown out of in trying, or I know my time investment is going to be huge. And then I pick something else that's not going to have that big of a time investment.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, I already enjoy RPGs, and I'm like, they're long enough.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't need a game which is going to require so much more time.
Dude, especially the next month. Like, there's 3 big time investment games for me that are coming out. So, and that's gonna be Avowed and Monster Hunter Wilds. And Civilization 6 or Civilization 7.
Oh boy.
That that third one that I listed is probably going to be the biggest one.
That's so many hours.
Yeah. I don't even know if I'm getting Monster Hunter Wilds because speaking of monetization, like I don't know how hard they're going to go on that to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yep. All right. What are we going to pick next on the list, Caedo?
Do you want to knock out some of the online ones?
Yeah.
Since we're kind of on that Fallout Shelter online, that was only in China?
It was originally in China. It's now across a lot of Asia. We haven't played it.
Yeah.
I can say that because neither of us are in Asia. We're in Europe and America.
Yep.
Unfortunately, neither of us hit the right continent.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't think it's necessarily bad. It could be, but I don't think it necessarily is.
I don't imagine it would be like that bad because Fallout Shelter was so decent.
Yeah. I will say the thing that could be bad about it is that it serves as like a precursor to Fallout 4, I think. But I can't find any lore and stuff about it really online other than that fact. So like maybe they did some really stupid things with the characters, but that's like, yeah, who knows? That's it. Oh, it does. There are a few interesting lore details which are hinted at, including stuff like Harold might still be alive at the end of Fallout 3, but
still
yeah,
true.
it's like that's one of several options, and a lot of the problem as well is obviously I'm reading stuff that's being translated rather than stuff that's in the native language. So
yeah, so it might be.
You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a game we've not played.
Yep.
I think we both have played Fallout Shelter though, right?
I played Fallout Shelter a tiny bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like once it was like available on PC, I was like, okay, I'll try it a little bit. Yeah, it's mainly just not my genre really.
Yeah.
Or maybe just not my vibe. But
No, I
recognize that it can be fun.
Yeah.
It's really funny that I say that, and then I've played the game Sheltered really hard. Like which is very similar, but a little more brutal and less. Maybe it's just missing the brutality that I like. I don't know.
I mean, I've played Fallout Shelter. Back when I had my retail job, I used to sometimes just play it a little bit before my shift started. Good little use of time. I don't think it's good, but I don't think it's bad. I feel like it can go in decent.
Decent? Yeah, it's kind of where I was hovering.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, Fallout 76 for the last of the of the online ones?
Maybe. Yeah, we're both not sure about one of them. Fallout 76. So first of all, I think we can eliminate bad from the rankings.
Launch 76 was bad.
Yeah.
I will concede to launch 76 being bad. But now I want to put it in great.
Okay, man, I was going to kind of push that out a bit, but yeah, I'd agree with great. I was going to be like, it's definitely not God tier. We can't put it in there either because there's still a lot of issues. There are bugs. I saw someone recently try and jump into the game and play it, but they have like a really good setup. And it turns out that if you're like averaging over 200 frames a second or something, the game just bugs out like crazy. It doesn't have an FPS limiter like in the settings. So he tried to play the game, and like half the time his camera was like
your hardware's too good, you broke the game kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It was ridiculous seeing that. But despite the game having plenty of problems and monetization, which we've already talked about at length.
Oh yes. Oh, I've spoken at length
game
about the monetization stuff. The crazy part about 76 is I was still, like, we talked about this like only an episode ago or something like that. Like, I was all about the Scorched Plague and learning the story about that and the lack of human NPCs because of that, and being the reason. But they so seamlessly added human NPCs back into the game, and made that a story and plot device so well that like I find it to be one of the like coolest world building situations in a Fallout game.
Yeah, I think it does an amazing job of creating an evolving world which makes sense. Like, they've got good logic for people coming back. They had good logic for the Brotherhood of Steel arriving, stuff they kind of hinted at and put in place. Even, like, the different region opening up where it wasn't before. That was, like, a little clunky at times, because it's like, hold up, we should have just been able to walk here, clearly. But it's still, they made it work. Like, I think they've done a great job at expanding the game as time has gone by, and it's gone from something which was bad into something that they got working and it's kind of okay. And now it really is, a great game, I'd say, which a lot of people enjoy. And even if you're a Fallout fan who's not really been into the online stuff or who heard about the reputation before, it's probably worth trying out because it's got a lot to offer.
Yeah, and it's like always on sale too.
Yeah,
like I will say, like, even though I really hate the Atom Shop and like just how it punches you in the face with it all the time, it not as much as some like gacha games especially do.
No,
like
when I brought up Elder Scrolls Online, I was thinking in comparison to 76, how much worse CSO is.
Yeah,
throwing the monetization in your face.
Yep. Fortunately, it seems like it's just mainly the title screen that does it. There's just like, oh, something free is there, and then that incentivizes you to go in there. And like I still hate like the usables and the boosters and stuff like that. I hate those being implemented in the game. But the things that you can just do, and like gameplay wise, as long as you're keeping kind of your scrap in check, like learning what junk is valuable and useful, it's not too bad. I've gone without the Fallout first the whole time, still, and I'm proud that I have that, because they also give like a freebie Fallout first occasionally as a promotional thing. And at that point, I just like, I put out the temporary scrap box and then put all my junk in there. You know, I have much more room in my stash for next time, but I also don't play 76 as hard as I used to. So there's also that. Dude, the story content is some of the best Fallout has to offer. I would still stand behind that statement. The Beckett story, what's her name, the astronaut story,
I can
some
never
of
remember
some of the Camp Allies stories are really good, and like better than they have any right to be. And also, like you brought up the Brotherhood stuff, like they made that a 2-parter and it was still really, really good.
Might be my favorite Brotherhood campaign from the franchise,
dude,
which is saying something.
It's up there for me too, because of like the choices. Leave it to the freaking online Fallout game to make actual choices for your characters and have them be instanced.
Man, I made a whole video which is basically talking about how crazy it is that this online game has such good choice and consequence.
Yeah.
And I get so many angry comments on it because people are like, no, it's easy, just choose the better option every time. I get like one comment which is basically like that every few weeks on that video.
Yeah. And like the fact that a lot of this story, all of the story stuff is free content. Like that's it. Like you could get Fallout 76 on discount for like $4 or $5 and then have so much game to play. Even if you wanted to play it solo, like I just want to do all the story content, you have so much to play now. You get more bang for your buck no matter what. So at the very least, I recommend that. And then like if you get really hard into the game, now there's the raids too, which totally destroyed Sarge and I. So
no chance
and
of us
Eric
getting through
as
that.
well. Like it was and Eric is our resident like min-maxer. So we know that's something for the real hardcore players that have, you know, at least 4 people to play with at the same time. So a little bit of everything for everybody, because there's the daily ops and there's also like the small expansion expedition areas too, where
the game is huge.
It's big. When I say small, I mean like these are fully explorable kind of zones.
I think we've justified the position of it.
I think
There'll
I've justified
still be
it.
people angry, but
somebody will
so
loudly disagree, but that's, you know, that's your opinion.
While we're keeping people angry, though, and in that section, can we talk about Morrowind?
Oh my god. Okay. Let's talk about Morrowind, Sarge.
Now, you've played a lot more of Morrowind than I have.
I've beaten Morrowind.
So I think you will have the weightier opinion, but I don't think Morrowind is all it's cracked up to be. I've played a decent chunk of it. I probably put overall I probably put like 20 odd hours into it. I probably made about 10 hours actual progress, because I've done the start of the game a lot and tried to hit a rat a lot. Like, I genuinely think that at least an hour of playtime for me in Morrowind is me attempting to hit a rat and missing.
Let me make my job harder by going onto my Steam and looking at my Morrowind. time. I have 118 hours in Morrowind.
Oh man, that is a lot. Yeah, okay. Well, you know what? I'll just put mine as I don't think Morrowind is all it's cracked up to be, and I'll let you take it from there.
Okay. Well, now that people are angrily typing their response to you, Sarge, I will say those who put Morrowind in God tier are viewing it through nostalgia glasses. Because it is also really showing its age now.
Oh yeah.
There's parts about it that they're really fun, like really like good in a janky way. Like, I understand why the flight spell was removed, but it is so much fun in Morrowind. Also just the amount of like stacking that you can do in Morrowind is just not something afforded as much, or there's more like messing around you have to do in Oblivion to get that same result. But you can't fly in Oblivion without, just using console commands. Not really anyway. Whereas the flight spell just exists in Morrowind, as well as like the unlock spells and stuff like that. Like some of the spells that were prominent in Morrowind just aren't really a thing later, especially in Skyrim, where they would have been great to have, or maybe like reintroduced in like anniversary edition
stuff.
Yeah. So I want to put Morrowind in great. Like, it would not go any lower than that, obviously, because it has such a legendary status. Because it is still a really good story. And like anybody, I'm just putting it right next to 76, and people are just gonna be like, "What the hell, man?"
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you want to make people more angry, I personally would have put it in decent, because I think it has aged quite poorly overall, and there's just a lot of stuff. But when playing it nowadays, this is the thing, we're playing these games in 2025. This is the opinion we're taking of it. Like, if I was playing this in the year 2000, it'd be like, yeah, amazing, look at how cool this is. Quarter of a century later, it's like, nah, I'm not going to be impressed. I do realize, as I've been saying, that Morrowind came out after the year 2000.
Yeah, maybe Sarge. Also, I will say in the argument of like a chance to hit thing, why magic was so overpowered in Morrowind was because it didn't have a chance to hit. It had a chance to fail casting. So once you get over that hump of like being able to cast a spell, like, spell casting just became way overpowered. Also, Morrowind is a game that expected you to pay attention to your strengths and weaknesses when it came to skills in character building. So if you started with a character that was focused on a specific like type of melee, you wouldn't have that much of a like hump to get over when it came to stabbing rats.
I mean, I will say,
or punching rats.
I didn't do perfect character building, I'm sure, but I've got enough experience with character building when I got into this, but it shouldn't have been as difficult as it was.
Okay.
Like, this wasn't even me picking like a high elf mage and then trying to stab something with a sword.
I will recommend giving it a shot again around the I think Satanin is the starting area. Giving that a shot again, in that area.
I've given it so many shots, Caedo. I've made progress in the game. I've made it through like a few story missions and traveled to different cities and stuff. Like, I have made progress in the game. I just don't think it's a good game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like,
man, you're saying a lot of spicy ones today.
I want to make this clear, and there is stuff I really like about it. The fact that you can kind of break the main story and kill NPCs that shouldn't die and stuff, that I love. But I do think the game is just really old, and it has a problem of trying to clash together like tabletop RPGs with video game RPGs, and the clash of those two just does not work. Like, it's got a lot of good ideas, it does some stuff very well, and I can get why people enjoy it. I just don't think it's that good. But I will, because you've played so much more of it than I have, I will allow it to be put in great.
It's because Caedo has beaten it.
Yeah.
Recently.
You put more time in, you're allowed this.
I want to say recently, because I think it was last year that I actually finished the game. Like, I didn't start with Morrowind. That was a late adoption for me, but I also can vibe, like once I understand the rules of the game, like I can vibe pretty easily with them. Like my first character that I made was kind of crap because I overcorrected with the chance to hit. I was like, I'm gonna make a Nord, he's gonna have so many major weapon skills. So I had a plethora of options, including like spears, and also like Morrowind. After Morrowind, they did away with spears, and I'm really sad about it because spears are cool. But the intrigue of like what happened, like things that you learn about in the Dragonborn DLC, in learning about the history of the Dark Elves, and
I mean, I feel like something which may be working against me as well is because I've heard Elder Scrolls fans go off about Morrowind so much. The game doesn't have that many mysteries for me to uncover.
Yeah,
it's telling me a lot of stuff that people online have shouted at me repeatedly.
There's still a lot that I like when I played it. There's still a lot I saw firsthand that I was like, oh, yeah. Like there's a particular Dark Elf character that comes back in Skyrim. At least actually a couple that come back in Skyrim that obviously I don't want to spoil, but if you go back and play Morrowind, you're just like, I know this character. Wait, hold on. This character's name is familiar. And then you go back and you're like, oh, they're really old. Or just other various things. And also working for the Daedric princes, like there's some stuff, the Daedric artifacts that got reintroduced in Anniversary Edition in Skyrim, that you actually get to see firsthand, like when they were first introduced, and how much more freaking powerful they were in Morrowind. Like they got nerfed in Anniversary Edition for Skyrim. There's some really powerful weapons. Like one, it's a mace called the Scourge. I think it's a Daedric mace or a ebony mace. It summons two dudes at once. It summons a Scamp and a Dremora at the same time, and it doesn't count towards your summon limit. So you can also magically summon another, like you can have an army basically of summons in Morrowind, and it's really fun. Also, it's just a really powerful mace. But that's one of like many artifacts that you can get in one place, by the way. Like it's just a building full of chests that you can just dig into and get some of the most powerful gear in the game. It's really, and you are invited to do so. Like that's the craziest part. Is like, I would like to plunder your dungeon, please. And he's like, all right, don't die. It's just really funny. There's also the alien landscape of Morrowind is cool. Sorry, what? I keep going, don't I?
You do. You've said a lot about it. I'm sure that will make the Morrowind fans happy.
Okay. Sarge, have you played the Elder Scrolls Blades?
Nope. Caedo, have you played the Elder Scrolls Blades?
No, I have not.
Do we think it's bad?
I've heard it's bad.
I've heard it's bad as well.
Okay.
Well, let's put it in the we think it's probably bad. It might not be, but it probably is. Mm-hmm. We haven't heard any good things about it.
Yeah. This is one of the gamer cred ones. How about Daggerfall?
I've not played Daggerfall. I know it's big.
Yep. That's
about it.
I think I played it a tiny bit.
We haven't played.
But again, it's like Arena.
Have you played it?
I played it a tiny bit, but it's like Arena where I forgot what I played, really. So
okay,
I'm gonna put it in. We haven't played it.
Fair enough. Yeah, might be good. Who knows?
Yeah. Steeltown Eric might have something to say about it if he pops in. So.
Okey-doke.
Like the guards going, halt, 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 halt. Because there's fun guards in that one.
That's good.
Okay, we're down to the final three.
Mm-hmm.
And man, are they big ones.
Yeah. I feel like we're going to have a real discussion about a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's finish off the Elder Scrolls with Oblivion.
Okay. Oblivion.
I like Oblivion. See, the annoying thing is, I'm like, I think it's better than Morrowind and worse than Skyrim. But I'm also someone who very much prefers more modern games, I suppose. And I think Oblivion just about hits the cutoff of not quite feeling too old as to be, like, difficult, like, really difficult to play in the same way that Morrowind is. Like, Oblivion, you can pick up and play it. There are plenty of systems which are, like, janky or outdated or just not very good, but you can still just kind of play it as a modern gamer and get to grips with it.
So we'd put it above Morrowind in the great category then.
I mean, I would. It's obviously better than Morrowind. Everyone's going to agree with that.
Well, I have the nostalgia factor on this one because Oblivion was my first Elder Scrolls game.
Oh, okay.
So I have a lot of ultra nostalgia for Oblivion. And also, just going back to it, and when I did my fairly recent Oblivion guides, I enjoyed it all over again. But with a couple of quality of life mods, just for like interfacey stuff. But dude, having a mini map is so nice.
I mean, as someone who played it unmodern in the modern, or unmodded in the modern era even, I still enjoyed it. It's not a bad game. It's got good stuff going for it. There are some things I really like the spell casting. The way you cast spells, I sometimes prefer more than Skyrim, because it's nice to be a actual warrior and have spells as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a solid game. It is great.
Yeah. Spell crafting too. That's fun.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Though Morrowind also had that, so.
Oh, it's bad in Morrowind though. For some reason I've not come up with. Wow. Obviously. All right. Let's move on to a game which, man, I think I'm gonna have to fight you down on this one a little bit, which is Fallout 2.
I think it's great.
Because, wait, in the great category.
Yeah.
Oh man, but Caedo, I said I'm gonna have to fight you down on this, so now I've got to convince you it's only decent. Oh no!
No, I mean God tier.
Okay, no, you know what? I actually agree with it being in great.
Okay.
I personally don't think it's as good as the original Fallout.
Correct.
Main reason, Temple of Trials, obviously.
The only reason.
Even once you get beyond the Temple of Trials, I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, but Fallout 2 is so huge and takes so much time to kind of get through things.
Yes.
That I feel like it can become quite a tiring game.
Yes.
Like it's not an inherently bad thing, but they put so much content in that unless you're like super, super into the game and super into that playstyle specifically as well of the isometric and stuff, it does just go on a little bit too long. Like, these aren't big complaints I've got about it, apart from the Temple of Trials, which is so dumb. But, yeah, it's got a couple of things I want to get back.
It's the dang, there's too much game in my game. Darn it.
Yeah. Like, it is also the case of a lot of these are big games.
Yeah.
But, like, with Fallout 2, I'm like, you felt like you were just a little too big for me. Like, it just... Sometimes it feels like it's dragging on the times I've played it.
Yeah.
Like, not a huge amount, but I'm like, you could have just trimmed the fat a little on places.
Yeah.
And it would have been better.
And I agree with that. I acknowledge that being triple the length of the first Fallout game, there's a lot that could have been maybe a little shorter. Yeah. The den, especially for me. Also... Some of the locations are just kind of, I don't know what you call it. It's like more of a sightseeing kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where like Reading is just another small town that has like a bit of a Western feel, and one of the coolest songs on the soundtrack. But aside from that, it's very much just doing kind of Western themed things. The only thing it has going for it is the Wanamingos.
I think a thing that the 3D games have over isometric just across the board is you can kind of get away with more vibey, just experience this location areas in 3D games because you're able to just look at them more yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas in isometric, it's like, yes, I've seen this one screen, That's all you kind of
and they had to put more stuff in that screen to make it worth making in the first place. And then it just
starts getting a bit cluttered, and it's like it's a lot easier to make an interesting to explore environment in a 3D world because you've got a 3D space to work with rather than just this flat screen to go off.
Yeah, well, I guess it counts as a caravan hub as well. There's 3 caravan tents in the mining town, but again, like it's a means to an end. Like, oh, the Reading NPCs keep talking about New Reno. It's like they're supplying them with jet. That sounds way more interesting than here.
Yeah,
it's more like breadcrumbing the player, which is a term I learned from playing WoW so much. Way too much, in fact.
I'm still happy to put it in great.
Yeah,
and
that's why I put it.
Now we get to our final game on the list, Fallout 4, which, oh boy, I feel like for a lot of these I'm being like, okay, Caedo, I'm gonna need to like lower your ranking a bit, but now you've got to do the same for me because I want to put this in God tier.
You know, that was my first kind of reaction or kind of thought on it as well, where Fallout 4, I've burned myself out on a lot of its content, but I know just based on reception that it is a well-beloved Fallout game. And
what's really funny is I was going to talk about it from the same perspective but in the opposite kind of direction, because I think Fallout 4 is the most undeservedly hated of the Fallout franchise by a lot of people.
It's true, but the people who love it don't talk about it really.
Yeah,
which is something that I think we need to acknowledge too, is like people that are enjoying things are just enjoying the things without talking about it.
Yeah. No, you often see discourse online which is like Fallout 4 isn't really an RPG, and there's a lot of people who try to justify things like, oh well, it's got better shooting than the previous games, therefore it's a shooter instead. And it's weird because a lot of it's not RPG-ish enough. Sometimes it comes down to, oh, I want better choices and stuff, but then people never really get into the nitty-gritty of that, which always bugs me.
Yeah. But
I think a lot of the criticisms that are levied at Fallout 4, they're not inherently wrong all the time or anything like that, but they're often somewhat shallow and kind of like, why isn't it better? Or why isn't it like this other game I want it to be?
Yeah.
More than inherently, oh, this is a flaw of the game.
And it comes down to the strengths and weaknesses of the studio that makes it, too. Which is why it's ending up probably in the same tier as New Vegas, because these are Obsidian and Bethesda studios have different strengths. And
like New Vegas, it's the characters and the factions and all of that stuff. Fallout 4, I think Fallout 4 has some of the best gameplay mechanics out of any of the games on this list. Like, just the act of playing it moment to moment is really good.
Yeah. I was going to go with the exploration part, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very fun to explore. I love the junk system. The junk system is great, so smart, and makes so much sense.
Bethesda, why did you ever remove that from following games? Why would you do that? Stupid.
Yeah, they took a real back pedal with that on Starfield in a way that does not make sense. But yeah, like, it does so much stuff well. I think the stuff it gets criticized for, it isn't even necessarily bad at, it just doesn't excel at those same things. I genuinely don't think I have any major gripes with Fallout 4.
Except the legendary system.
Even that, I don't like the legendary system.
No, it sucks!
But yeah, Fallout 4, I think that's when it started to get bad, but I don't think it's terrible in that, because there still are uniques. Legendaries aren't like some crux to the entire game. They're just this random thing that shows up and is sometimes a bit annoying.
Yeah.
Like, that was when they started going down the bad route with legendaries, but not in the same way that future games would, where it just becomes this whole huge problem.
An entire replacement.
Yeah. In Fallout 4, they still were doing uniques. There's still cool stuff in there. There's stories around uniques as well, like the Deliverer and Grognak's Axe and the Silver Shroud stuff. Like, they still were working on that, but the badness was creeping in. It wasn't actually consuming the project.
Yeah, I'm just obsessed. It's fine.
That's fair. Okay, I was really thinking I was going to have to fight for Fallout 4 in God tier.
Yeah, we're not giving the audience as much arguing as I think they were expecting, maybe.
Yeah.
As much as we were expecting.
There were a few games we disagreed on, but not by much.
Yeah.
We do have pretty similar tastes on these franchises, it seems.
I mean, that could be part of why we get along so well.
Now, though, we have the fun thing of totting up the scores. Because, oh yeah, I came up with a scoring system.
Uh-oh.
So, if you just want to talk about this in a way that doesn't worry people while I add up the scores here, then I'll get back to you and tell you who won.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I will say, never, ever, ever play Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. Fallout Brotherhood of Steel is, in fact, the worst game, even despite me not playing a lot of the Elder Scrolls games that I didn't know about until now. Don't play Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. It's a PlayStation 2 and Xbox original exclusive. You can emulate them. In fact, if you are willing to, if you want to subject yourself to the pain and torture of those things firsthand, you can emulate them. It's okay to do that. I will make an exception for the case of Fallout Brotherhood of Steel Balls Edition to play it however you want if you're going to torture yourself in that way, which I don't think you should. I think you should actually just listen to maybe listen to some Slipknot and chug a lot of sugary drinks, and you may get the same feeling. You'll get a stomach ache and maybe a headache, and also regret your decisions. Did you tally them up yet?
Yeah, I tallied them up. I did 2 different scoring systems as well, just in case things turned out much differently, but no. Fallout's almost 2.5 times as good as Elder Scrolls, is what I've got from this.
Okay.
Because Fallout comes in with a score of 24, Elder Scrolls with a score of 10. Yeah. So, suck it, Elder Scrolls. I guess it's just not as good.
What's the ratio, though? Did you ratio it?
No, I didn't ratio it, annoyingly. But the problem is, as well, we've got a lot of games in that we haven't played this on the Elder Scrolls front.
Yeah.
And we decided we think it's bad for a couple of Elder Scrolls games as well.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cruel. Like, we've played every Fallout game except for the one that's just in Asia.
Yeah. And that's justifiably something that we just can't can't really do.
But what I still will say is, overall, these franchises definitely score pretty highly. Like, we've only got 2 bad games, and that's 1 per franchise, which is pretty solid. And for God tier, sure, we have outnumbered with Fallout, and Fallout does outnumber in the great as well, but it's not like Elder Scrolls is struggling to do well in this tier list. It's got solid games on it that we do enjoy.
Yeah.
It's just when they've tried to spin off and do other things, it's not gone quite as well as when Fallout does its spin-offs. Like, Fallout can do spin-offs well. Elder Scrolls hasn't ever really managed it.
Yeah, I think that's mainly... Fallout can do spin-offs okay. Well, also, oh man, the Fallout show exists. That's technically...
we didn't put that. That's not a video game.
It's not a video game, but it's an adaptation that's actually really good. Whereas...
I mean, if we're talking on that front, then, I actually think Elder Scrolls books would do really good.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't see them, which is a real shame.
We don't have our Elder Scrolls book club started yet.
Yeah. It's...
Dang.
Yeah. I'm glad that every single part, except for we haven't played this and it's bad, has from both franchise, and hopefully people in the comments will tell us what they think of all of this and why we're idiots and should have put everything differently.
Yep. that's the main reason for doing these tier lists, is the engagement.
Yeah,
good or bad, it's
engagement. This
engagement.
time.
And man, those on Spotify, there is a video version, so well, I don't even know why I'm saying that, because there is a video version. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Right. speaking of video versions, let's maybe go back to B-roll so we can talk about what we're playing. Sarge, what have you been playing and working on and doing?
Oh man, I mean, I've been working on doing a bunch of stuff, but I'm just going to focus more on what I've been playing right now.
Okay.
There's been so much.
Okay.
I've been playing Elden Ring. Because Caedo got me Elden Ring.
Woo!
Remember, everyone? We've talked about it a bit. And yeah, I'm now at the point where I've got over half the achievements, and the achievements that I'm getting for like main story bosses are ones that less than half of players have achieved.
Oh.
That makes sense. So yeah, I'm getting to a point where I'm like, okay, most people did not make it this far. And that is extra impressive because the achievement Elden Ring, which is obtained all achievements, 10% of players have that.
Oh.
10% of players have done everything in Elden Ring.
I think that's pretty high, actually.
That's insanely high.
For games in general.
Yeah, and I think you have to get to New Game free, like New Game Plus free in Elden Ring to actually get that as well. Like, this is people who have spent hundreds of hours in this game.
Because there's different choices you have to make in some of the quest chains too, right?
Oh yeah, it's like really difficult to get that achievement, and 1 in 10 Steam players have got it, which is
mental.
Insanely high. That also means there's technically no like rare achievements on the Steam version of Elden Ring, because they only show up as like a rare achievement if less than 10% of players get them, which means no shiny little gold outline and stuff.
Oh.
But yeah, I have been enjoying Elden Ring. It's a lot of fun. I've been doing a great job with some of the bosses. The last boss I beat is the Fire Giant, which was a really cool boss fight. Just took me 3 attempts in total, which I'm quite proud to say is more attempts than bosses normally take me. Yeah, I'm a one and done kind of guy most of the time. Boom, yeah, look at me go. But yeah, this guy like tears his leg off halfway through and stuff and shoots fireballs. And by the time I was on the 3rd attempt, I was also watching Luke Westaway play Demon Souls, an old Outside Extra live stream, and I was chatting to my sister at the same time as fighting this boss and dodging their attacks perfectly. And that made me feel good. Just being able to multitask while fighting Elden Ring boss and dodging these like one-shot kill attacks, I was like, yeah, I got good at this game now.
You should feel proud.
I am proud.
Yeah.
I've also done like most of the optional story stuff where you have to look up the wiki for it as well, which I've been trying to avoid too much of that and too much spoilers, but it is a FromSoft game, so it's like, oh, I've met a character. One of them is a guy named Blaive, who is a wolf guy standing on top of like a big structure that you can't get up to. And it turns out what you need to do is go and talk to the merchant, just this random merchant dude at the start of the game, and then he'll give you a gesture to use nearby him. And it's that kind of nonsense that means you have to check the wiki for these games if you want to do like the optional story stuff. So, a lot of wiki checking, but I've been doing all the optional stuff, and I'm now set up to just kind of beat the game and not have to worry about any of that, I think, which is good.
That's great.
The other game I've been playing is Kingdoms of Amalur.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because I'm actually working on a Ultimate Beginner's Guide. Yeah. So I was like, I better play more of this game. And not only to get footage, but to make sure I'm not missing out on stuff.
And you're not tired of it yet?
No.
Oh, good.
I've been playing a fair bit. Mostly just doing like side quests and things. But working out all the different skills, everything I'll need to put in the guide and stuff. So, hey, if you've got anything you think I should put in the guide, do let me know, because the draft for it is all over the place right now. There's a lot of stuff.
The Shadow Strike thing? What is that move called? It's you throw out some dust and then 5 knives.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know what that's called. I just do refer to it as throwing sand in their eyes. I use it all the time.
Yeah, that's the best combo interrupt. I don't know if you get into combo interrupts at all. But...
I mean, it's beginner's guide. I do have an exploration and combat section where I'll talk about like special combat moves and different abilities and stuff like that. I'll go into it a little bit, but I am struggling a bit with where I draw the line for a beginner's guide. Because this isn't supposed to be like super in-depth, get to learn every single thing.
Right.
But I also want someone to watch this and then just be able to play the game, no problems.
Yeah. I think just mentioning spells interrupt combos would be, and expanding on that a little bit would be helpful, because like, especially with the heavier weapons like the hammer and stuff like that, like you need to have something to interrupt your combos or you're gonna get hit a lot. So
yeah, I think I'll have to like put a short paragraph that covers like blocking, dodging, and interrupting, kind of all in one, because those are essentially your free options for when you're getting attacked.
Yeah. And also pausing the game during the fate finisher to find out the button prompt before it surprises you.
People don't need to know that in a beginner's guide, Caedo.
Come on, it's XP bonus.
Yeah, but you can also just spam the thing. I like always get 100% on those.
Wow.
And I don't do the pausing the game thing. It's easy. You just spam all the buttons it could possibly be at once, and then just stick with the one afterwards.
But that's cheating. Oh, okay, that's fine.
Well, yeah, it's so much more cheating than pausing to get a sneak peek. Yeah, but yeah, I'm working on the Ultimate Beginner's Guide, hoping to have that out at some point next week. It's basically probably going to be my last video before Avowed releases.
Ah.
But I'm trying to like get a bunch of content done before that date. So I've got some stuff scheduled for this and the second channel, because Dark Souls Randomizer has been going on, and Borderlands pre-sequel Brand Loyalty. But when Brand Loyalty ends, I then will need to set up an Avowed challenge run. So yeah, I'm really just trying to get stuff done before Avowed launches. Because that's the next game for me to worry about.
Yep, same.
What have you been doing, Caedo?
I have been playing the things I normally play, so I'm not going to talk about those. But I got to try out the Eternal Strands demo. And it's cool that you were talking about Kingdoms of Amalur, and I may ask for a little bit of B-roll for this section of what we're doing. Because I played Eternal Strands, and it gave me some Kingdoms of Amalur aesthetics vibes. And then I found out Austin Wintory did the composing for it, which was a fun surprise because the music is cool. But this is a magical action hack and slashy kind of RPG thing, where the magic is very physics based. Like your first move is a grab move where you can like telekinetically grab something on the field and then chuck it at someone. But it doesn't stop there. It's you can grab enemies, you can grab all kinds of things that are on the field. And then your second spell you gain is like an icy freeze kind of thing, kind of like the glue gun from Prey, where it just makes chunks of ice everywhere, and you can grab those and throw those at people. And throw those at enemies. And also it has a fire spreading system that you can obviously, very much like the glue gun, put out fire with those icy blobs and like walk over them to keep yourself from taking damage. The ice also weighs enemies down and freezes them and damages them. So like what I'm experiencing so far is this magic system is very openly physics based, and it's really fun. But because it was just a demo where I got to fight, a Drake for a little while, I know there's a lot more to it. But it has been a lot of fun to try out, and maybe a buy for me, because I like games with that aesthetic, and also games that have a lot of fun with their physics like that. So it's like that mana game that I played through, I think Sword of Mana. That was like, we've discovered the Havoc engine, let's do everything. It kind of feels like that again, which just is a lot of fun, just physics flailing enemies everywhere and stuff like that. It's really great. And another adventure I've been on recently is I went to the UPS store yesterday to mail my phone to the Google store, because a Android update made some batteries obsolete for the Pixel 4a. So my battery life was completely ruined on my phone, and thankfully they were like, oh, we can make that right, just mail it to us or walk into a store. And I'm like, well, all right. So I opted into to mail my phone to them, and hopefully it arrives sooner than in a couple weeks, because I am currently without a cell phone, and I'm not too much of a cell phone guy, but I recognize when something is useful, and then when I suddenly don't have it, it's, you notice. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. It's a bummer too, because like the Pixel 4a has been a great phone up until this point. It's obviously the update's fault. It's just like, oh, your battery's now too bad for this. Or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. Yeah, I think that's all we have.
That is.
Thank you, Sarge, for putting together the tier list again.
That's okay.
It's been a lot of fun. Again, not as much arguing as I thought we would have, but it was still fun. And if you all have your own takes on the tier list, I think we're going to link it in the description. I'm going to link it in the description below. If you want to do your own, you are welcome to do that, or just make corrections in the comments. That's fine too. Or just tell us how wrong we are. It's all engagement. So thank you ahead of time. And we hope to catch you in the next PIPCAST 3000 every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Thank you to Wasteland Legends, Sven and Rose, and the rest of the supporters. And we'll catch you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.